promised salaries, bonuses, and payments are delayed or not paid at all to the Russian military personnel. Problems with accrual of money are felt almost throughout Russia, Sever Realii writes. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of the territory of Ukraine, the Russians participating in the hostilities have been promised large sums. Contract soldiers an average of 150,000–200,000 rubles, mobilized at least 195,000 rubles. However, there has been no money since the beginning of the year.
We get no payments. We were simply thrown to die. We have been under Ukrainian shelling for a month now, and no help has to come us. There are getting very few of us. Out of group of 65 people, there are only 23 left. We are sitting in the damp earth. We have not bathed for a month, in torn clothes, dirty. The evacuation of the wounded is very poor.
Also, it is not at all rare when Russians are denied treatment and sent to the front line. For example, a 33-year-old man with seizures and vomiting due to his stomach ulcer was mobilized in the Moscow region. Although he had all the certificates that he had been ill for 7 years, he was recognized as fit for duty at the military registration and enlistment office.
He provided a certificate that he was on the dispensary account, but the military registration and enlistment office ignored this certificate. He was also recorded as a volunteer, but actually he came on the summons. There was no military medical examination. In the unit, they did a gastroenteroscopy and said that his ulcer had healed.
In mid-March, Putin announced that after 6 months of being on the front line, every serviceman has the right to a 2-week holiday. However, these words have not yet become a normative document, human rights activists report, and a Russian soldier can go on holiday only after being wounded, and even then, it does not always work.
Holidays were received after severe wounds, and this was not in the last months, but at the very beginning of the war, almost a year ago. To date, we know quite a lot of cases when people did not receive any holidays and were returned to the front from hospitals after severe wounds with difficulty, in general, without really recovering from them. They were not given only holiday. They were not given even time for normal rehabilitation. Very often people from intensive care are transferred back to the location of the unit.
The wives of the Russian military record numerous video messages to Putin where they complain that the fate of the soldiers is controlled by the commanders who, if even give permission for holiday or to leave, take away their passports.
From that week, our men began to be put on leave. 5 people per battalion for 5 days. It's just ridiculous. At this rate, the queue for leave will stretch for years. But even releasing these 5 people, the command takes their passports away. But according to the constitution of the Russian Federation, no one can take them away. And it turns out that the mobilized who were put on furlough cannot apply to any institution, including hospitals and registry offices, since they do not have passport.
Those who do manage to come home, even if only for a short time, bring with them all the horrors of war. Their wives say that men have changed. They drink a lot, sleep poorly, strike close relatives for no reason. All those who participated in the hostilities experience flashbacks to some extent. This is a sign of post-traumatic stress disorder, psychologists say.
He seems to return to that very stressful situation. I guess that even at the everyday level, people understand what PTSD is because it is often shown in films. One walks, hears the asphalt being drilled on the road, and suddenly it returns to the combat zone mentally, to a place where there are enemies to be destroyed. Anna Movshevich, psychologist from Nizhny Novgorod, in an interview with Radio Liberty.
In 2022, the year of the Russian army's full-scale war against Ukraine, there were more murders and assassinations in Russia for the first time in 20 years. There are no exact statistics on how many crimes are committed by people who are back from the war, and this is one of the most pressing problems. After the end of hostilities, hundreds of thousands of men will pour into Russian cities who have been killing other people for a long time. And we are talking not only about former prisoners from the Wagner PMC, LGBT, but also about military personnel who now have about the same psychology, human rights activists say.
If we talk specifically about military personnel, after all, and not about the Wagner mercenaries, then their psychological state leaves much to be desired. This is a terrible state. Even if we are talking about people who are already safe, without fully left the unit and left the country, even they are in serious condition.
In the border areas, from the territory of which Russia is actively shelling Ukraine, a significant increase in crimes related to the use of weapons was recorded. For example, the Russian publication Kommersant, citing data from the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs, reports that in January 2023, the number of such crimes in the Belgorod region increased by almost 217% compared to January 2022, and the number of crimes involving weapons and explosives has increased more than 40 times. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Natalia Bilokudra, Evgeny Karmazin, UATV News.